Howdy folks, this is BelGeode, and we are back in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and this is a test, otherwise known as one of my chill vids. Chill vids generally have very low editing. Usually I'll just add like some little pop-up commentary, which no doubt you're seeing right now on your screen. So, we are going to be checking out today a couple of scenery and aircraft add-ons. What do I mean? Well, the aircraft that we're going to be using is available on Orbx, and this is the, the Pacific Aviation, or the PAC-750. It's billed as a short takeoff and landing, and as you can see, judging from that nose, it is a turboprop. It is most definitely a turboprop, so hopefully it's got the power and the range to be able to do this flight. Now, you may also hear some rather gnarly sounding winter winds, and even though it is October, this is being recorded the day before Halloween, or Samhain to some. We're in Alaska. More to the point, we're on the Aleutian Isles. In particular, we are at Cold Bay. Now, this particular scenery of Cold Bay is a freeware, so you can find the links to everything in the video description below, and this one is available on flightsim.to. Now, from Cold Bay, we are going to be flying towards one of probably the more popular destinations in the Aleutian Islands, and that is Dutch Harbor. In particular, another airport that you're going to find on Orbx. Now, that one is PAYWARE, and it is Unalaska in Dutch Harbor. It is a pretty awesome airport, which I hear has a pretty challenging approach. So yeah, this is going to get interesting, and I'm hoping this is going to be the aircraft for the job. Now, there are a number of things about this aircraft that I can tell you I'm not too pleased with. Overall, it is a pretty good aircraft, as we would come to expect from anything that Orbx puts their stamp on. There's just some missing features for me that are present in other aircraft that I would love to see in this aircraft, but we'll go over that momentarily. Before we get to the cockpit and actually get started on our little cargo run here, let me show you the external cameras that have been provided. So of course we're in a drone cam right now, as you can see. And look at that windsock over there. That's one of the weird things about this FREEWARE airport that I need to mention. There are two windsocks and they both point in opposite directions. So it's like, which one is correct? No one knows. But hopefully the developer for the FREEWARE will see that and get rid of the wrong one. All right, but external cameras. Okay, so we got our standard behind the aircraft view, which is fine. The only thing I don't like is it's pointing downwards a little too much. I think it needs to come back a bit and point a little more like that. But that's a minor issue. I'm not even worried about it. Then we've got the ever popular BelGeode landing cam, as I have come to call it, and I will continue to call it that because I believe every aircraft should have a landing gear camera. It is also important to note, do you see those gear? They do not retract at all. This is it. This is what you got. So obviously that's going to limit our speed as well too. Which means this is probably going to be a long video because it is not a short flight from here to Dutch Harbor. Just warning you from now in case you need to pause the video and go get a snack and a drink. All right, then we have this view, the wing over view, as I like to call it. It's pretty cool. I like this view. This is cool. Nothing more I can say about that. Then, of course, we can check our elevator, and actually that puts me in the mind to do a controls wipeout. So let's go aileron, elevator. Now, this is another important thing to note. You notice when I pull the stick back, the elevator has a lot of play. However, when I pull the stick forward, that's it. That's all the downward play we've got. So those trim tabs may come in handy. And then, of course, we got our rudders right there. So yeah, that's looking good as well. It is morning time, by the way, in case you're wondering why the clouds look like that and why we've got the sun behind us. Next view, pretty standard. I'm not a huge fan on the behind the aircraft views like this, but at least we can check our rudder, and you can see that there is a little bit of a graphical glitch currently in this version of Microsoft Flight Simulator, which is Sim Update 10, World Update 11. We're still waiting for Sim Update 11, but that is coming in November as part of the 40th anniversary version of Microsoft Flight Simulator, which no doubt you've been seeing that pop up at the end of each of these chill vids over the last few weeks. Now we've got a forward view here looking at the engine. I would assume this is a PT6. That seems to be the default turboprop engine for a lot of turboprop planes. It's also interesting to note that the canopy here kind of reminds me of, I guess, kind of like a fighter jet type, where it opens up sideways. It's got the DeLorean doors, as I like to call those. And you can see there's me, there's Kara. However, first thing I will tell you, you cannot see your co-pilot inside. That's a missed opportunity. Everybody else is doing it. Come on, Orbx, get with the program. More on that later. And then we've got another view where we are at the gear. And remember, these gear don't retract. So at least you can see some of the detail that they've put into it. You can tell this is a Michelin tire, and it looks pretty cool. Little oleo strut there, all the brake cables and all that good jazz. I like stuff like this. I like when developers go the extra mile to give us that extra detail. Only thing I would say it's missing, hydraulic fluid stains. But that's just me. That's just me. And then we've got this shot here, which is obvious. It is from the front of the aircraft looking back. And you can see the big, huge intake scoop underneath. As far as I am aware, I don't believe there are any inlet covers or pitot tube covers or anything with this aircraft. In fact, I'm kind of hoping this thing has icing or anti-icing features, because if it does not, this is going to be one hell of a flight. And we've got another view here, pretty stock standard stuff. This is for your screenshots. And back to this view. Okay, so now that we've established the aircraft as a whole, let's hop in the cockpit and see if we can get her started. And yes, we will use a checklist, so that will make the video a little longer. Okay, so we're inside the office, and the first thing that I notice is the size of this panel. Look at this. Granted, it's got your standard gauges, it's got some of your glass cockpit things, and by that I mean like your GPS units. You see we've got two GPS units, looks like a 430 and a 530. There's also a little iPad here, which does give some functionalities, but not a lot. There's a lot more that they could have done with this. And of course, we got a whole bunch of fuses. You know, I haven't even checked to see if any of these fuses work, but yeah, it looks like they do. So you could pull fuses and so on and so forth. Not sure if you can fail fuses, but if you can, that would be where you fix them, and that's your co-pilot's job. As you can see in the cargo version here, we've got plenty of space for cargo, but this is one of the most major missed opportunities for this aircraft. Why is there no visual representation of cargo? Same goes for the other variants too. There's a passenger variant that has no passengers. There is a skydive variant, and that is probably the hugest missed opportunity, because I'm pretty sure you could probably put skydivers in there and then have them disappear as they jump out. That would be a really cool feature to see in Microsoft Flight Simulator. X-Plane can do it. I'm pretty sure that Thranda has already done that with their Pilatus PC6 Porter. I don't see why that sort of thing can't be coded in this sim. So again, huge missed opportunities there. And then there's also an agricultural variant, which I'm assuming the sprayers under the wings do work, but I have not tested that version, so don't quote me on that. If you happen to know for sure if they do or do not, feel free to chime in the comments. I will heart your comment so that everyone can see it. But yeah, our Phantom cargo is on board. We've got quite a lot. We are probably just below max takeoff weight, so this is going to be really interesting. We got our trim controls up here. To be honest with you, I'm not 100% certain that any of these trim controls move. The commands for them that are attached to my Virpil do move, so we will be able to, operate our trim and whatnot. It's just I'm not 100% certain that it's actually visualized, because every time I look up there, everything appears to be in exactly the same position. So again, a couple of opportunities here that could be done. Okay, but as you can see, we got the standard stuff here, all that good jazz. No Kara sitting inside. Probably my biggest disappointment with this aircraft, but overall, the aircraft itself is pretty good, and it does fly well, as you will see. But let's get our checklist going. I take so long to do these things here, so my apologies if you end up skipping forward on the video to get to quote-unquote the good parts. But yeah, I like to go through all of this stuff, and that's kind of the whole point of these chill vids, is to show you what I will typically do on an average flight. The only difference is I'm actually recording this. All right, so parking brakes are set, all switches are off. We're going to assume they are because I've just simply loaded this aircraft up. Before starting, flaps are up. Yes, they are. Flap lever is all the way to the right, the little gray one there. It is up. So we'll check that. Battery switch on. There you go. Your battery switches are the two on the far right. So yeah, they're definitely on now. Generator is supposed to be off, but with me, the generator switch comes on when I hit the battery switch. I have that set up in my Virpil that way. Ignition should be set to auto. Now, ignition and all the other controls are on the right side. Auto should be the top setting, so we need to flip that to the up position. And there we go. And we also have fuel here, which we'll get to that momentarily. Fuel pump, there it is, set to auto. All right, so back to the fuel. And if you look at the little label on top, which I think I can zoom in with this barely. Yeah, you can see top is auto, bottom is manual. We want you top. There you go. All right, Avionics Master, make sure that is off. Avionics Master 2, make sure that is off. Annunciator test. I believe this is it right here. So look at that. Lit up like a Christmas tree with everything on it. I love it. I love it. Okay, that works. Annunciator day or night set is required. We are set to night currently. Let's see. Yeah, we can set it to day, and that'll be fine. That just makes it a little brighter. Check illuminated lights. We already did that, so why do we have to do that again? Who knows? Start engine. Okay, power lever set to idle. It is. Now, this does have a beta range. So we can go through the various settings here. So that is full throttle. That is full idle. And then if I hit my little button on the left side of my Virpil, it will now go into full beta. Make sure you don't do that when you are starting this aircraft or at any other time other than when it's actually needed. So we'll just make sure it's going forward again. Yes, it is. Good. All right. So power lever is set. Propeller lever is in feather, which is all the way at the bottom. That's the blue one there. Pretty much standard stuff. Blue is usually prop pitch. Red is usually mixture or fuel condition. In this case, it's cut off. Propeller area is clear. Yep, our little dude is sitting right there. Don't ask me how he's going to push us back. Start switch, select start. Now, before I actually hit that, we need to read the rest of this here. So 13 to 15, we're going to set the fuel condition lever to ground idle. And you can see it is right there. Now for the fuel condition lever, it's kind of funky. You barely touch it. It's not one of those things where, you can roll it all up and down or whatnot. It's just one notch. If you've got it on a knob or a lever, basically one notch will get us there. All right, so we'll try to keep that in mind when we go to start this puppy. I'm going to check all of this stuff off. Starter energized light, aux fuel pump light, ignition light, make sure all of those extinguish. Check pressure at 40 psi minimum. ITT, oil temperature, check within limits. We don't have external power, so yeah, that's fine. And then we'll stop right here at prop lever full forward, check NP 52 to 54%. Generator master switch on. Okay, so we're ready for a start. Here's how we're going to do it. Start switch is right here. You can see up is for start. So here we go. And again, we're looking for 13 to 15 on the NG. There we go. We are at 15 now. So see what I mean? This is what I'm talking about here. It's really sensitive. So we do have it in ground idle now. So that should have taken, I hope. All right, NG is still coming up. I realize I didn't turn on any lights or anything, but I'm following the checklist here, so we'll do that momentarily. And 52 to 54, we want the prop lever up. So let's go ahead and get that up and running. Now, I will also remind you, I do have my sounds somewhat turned down, so that way you can hear me properly. That has a downside. This aircraft, the sounds are off. And by that, I mean they're way too low than I think they should be. Now, we could, in theory, open the door, provided, of course, my checklist is not in the way there. I might have to move the checklist. Okay, where are you, door latch? Can I not open you? I thought I could. I guess because the engine is on, it won't open the door. Yeah, that looks to be the case. The other thing that we can do is we can go to the outside view. Okay, so you hear how loud this is. As in, not much. They could do better on the audio for this one. It's pretty quiet at idle. And you can like not hear it at all. So it's as if we've got really good noise canceling headphones on. We're going to go with that. That's our story and we're sticking to it. All right, let's make sure our NG is where it should be. It's currently at 49. Okay, there we go. Now we're at 50. All right. Pedostatic heat inop. We'll turn that on momentarily. Generator, make sure that's on and charging. I believe it is. I believe it is. I forget exactly which one of these is the generator, and it is a little dark, so we can probably use our night light here. Where are you? Is that the volts? Yeah, that's the volts. So yeah, we got 24.4. We're good. We're good. Okay, after starting the engine, avionics master switches on, and radios on, which means Kara is probably going to call for a pushback. Okay, avionics bus should be here. So just beyond the starter switch, we want you on and you
Papa
on.
Alpha Charlie Delta traffic November 70
Nav lights,
Alpha Golf Bravo taking off runway tree departure to the north.
beacon lights, passenger cabin lighting. I realize I've got the little torch on my head, but hopefully you can see the little passenger lighting back there. Turn that off. And what other lights are we missing here? Strobe, map light, which is above our head. There we go. That's what I needed. That's exactly what I needed because it's kind of miserable here today. Panel lights, pitot heat. We're going to go ahead and turn that on because it's kind of cold. Inertial separator with a turboprop. You probably want to have this on while you're on the ground, and then you can turn it off at like about 2,500 feet. Oil cooler duct heater. I'm not 100% as to whether or not I will need that on, but let me just do a quick scan here. I don't see anything outside of the green, so I'm going to assume that means we are currently okay. So I will leave it off with the caveat that I may need to turn it on later. All right, trims, set takeoff position. Our trim gauge is right there. And you can see the takeoff position is basically down. So we need to trim this puppy down. Why? I have no idea, but that's what it says to do. Oh, actually, it's saying trim up. I'm reading that the opposite way. So you see that, right? The DN is at the bottom. The up is at the top. But I'm actually trimming it nose back or nose up in order to make it go down, which is a little weird, to say the least. Prop feather than fully forward. I'm not going to worry about that. I know that works. Flaps 20% recommended. So let's go ahead and drop our flaps. There we go. Make sure they went down. I'm assuming they did. Can't really see them all that well, but I do see a gap between the aileron and the flap itself. So yeah, I would assume that means it's down. Okay, we really should get a pushback, but I'm thinking we're going to cheat a little bit. We're going to do it the old-fashioned way. About this iPad, let me see if I can turn it on, and I'll show you what you can do with it. Okay, so avionics-wise, you can change your avionics out. You got your basic avionics, you got your TDS, and you got your PMS. Those are the popular add-on avionics that you can add. Units, kilograms or pounds? Well, I am not really so metric as I am imperial, so we're going to switch it to pounds. Ground power disconnected, so if we would have had it connected, that's how we do that. Left cockpit door is closed, right cockpit door is closed. Okay, so it looks like we can only use this to open the doors then, which is kind of weird. Maybe. Cabin door closed. That's it. That's all you can do with this iPad. Again, a little bit of a missed opportunity with this bird. I'm pretty sure you should be able to put other stuff on there. For example, making your co-pilot visible, making your passengers visible, making your cargo visible, your skydivers, all of that stuff I think can be incorporated into the iPad. So hopefully they will think of doing that at some point in time down the road. All right, engine anti-ice. Are you telling me you want it on, or are you telling me it is on? I'm going to get the windscreen demist on. All right, let me just run through this really quickly just to see if there's anything else I may need to do before we actually get the heck out of here. Fuel switches on auto. Fuel contents sufficient for flight. I did check that. I do have enough fuel, I think. I'm hoping. Yeah, looks like I do. Okay. We'll watch that gauge and make sure we don't run out of gas. Now, I've specifically set this flight plan up where we're flying over airports. So if we do run into any issues, even though there's not very many airports between here and Dutch Harbor, we can, in theory, use one of those airports as an emergency stop-off. That's the best way to flight plan, I feel, especially in these islands. All right, fuel annunciator lights are gone. Engine instruments are good. Flight instruments are set. Oh, let me check my altimeter. Yes, we are at about 100 feet above sea level. Pitot heat annunciator light should be extinguished. It is. Lighting as required. Doors are closed. Flight controls free and correct. We already did that. All right, takeoff. Let's see what we got to worry about. Brakes. Flight idle for the fuel condition lever. Power, advance that. Engine instruments, brakes release. Rotate around 61. Initial climb out 74. Or if we have no obstacles, 91. Flaps retract at safe height. Autopilot master as required. Okay, that's it for the checklist because we won't need it again until we're about ready to land. All right, flap position is set. Trim looks to be in the green. Current time is 7:39 local. I think we're good to go. One thing I do want to do is I'm going to set my transponder on standby, which it should be set to 1200. We'll see if it actually is. No, it's set to 7,000. Okay, well, you know what? I'm going to roll with that because I don't know if Alaska does it different from the rest of the U.S. So yeah, that works for me. All right, I am also going to get our landing lights on. Landing lights on. We'll leave the strobe lights off until we actually get to the runway. And we're going to do a fake pushback. So I have my pushback button set. We get our brakes off. Make sure we're not rolling forward while we're doing this. Good luck, dude. I hope you can do this without becoming chopped liver. Yeah, I'm not optimistic about his chances. Let's watch from the outside. Okay, so that should be sufficient to get us started. And Kara already got clearance for us to take off, so let me just see which runway we're going to be using here. Runway 33, departure to the north. Okay, now the real question is, where the hell are we in relation to runway 33? I want to say that's it back there, so we're going to need to make a UE. And hopefully I can see those lights once we're actually on the runway, but we'll find out momentarily. All right, remember, we're in ground idle, so we do need to give it a fair bit of power before we move out. And again, apologies for the sound being a little bit low. There is not much I can do about that. I could increase it, but I like to keep my audio levels exactly where they should be so that I can evaluate each aircraft objectively. I can tell if something is too loud or too quiet by keeping my audio values exactly the same. All right, I think we need to go over there and turn around. So we're going to do that. Kara, you already got clearance, so I'm just going to pause here so I can set up my strobe lights before we actually take off. Wow. Did they even clean this runway? I don't think they did. Oh, this is going to be fun. All right. Strobe lights on. Oil cooler, cabin heat. We're going to turn the cabin heat on. I'm going to turn this on as well, too. Why? Why not? Hope we don't ice over. Okay, so all switches are now on. Transponder, we are going to set you to alt. And everything else appears to be good. What about my... There we go. That's what I'm looking for. All right, we'll set that to 3-3. Well, 330, I should say. That's our heading bug. And we're also going to set our VLOC to GPS. So that's on the CDI button. There we go. Okay, and hopefully the autopilot and GPS should behave themselves. I hope. All right. I don't see anything coming into Cold Bay, and I don't see anything going out. Those clouds do look a bit ominous, so this may get a little bit IFR. But we're going to try and see if we can get her up to about 8,000 feet, and maybe that should be just above this stuff. I'm not 100% certain as to whether or not this aircraft is pressurized. I want to say it is not, so I dare not go over 10,000. But we'll see what the mountains have to say about that first. All right, parking brakes off. Give her some more power. In case I forget, folks, just yell at your phone or your PC, whatever you're watching this video on, to remind me to put the fuel condition lever into flight idle. Otherwise, this is going to be a very short flight that is going to end with us in a snowbank. I'd rather like to avoid that, if that's okay with you. All right, we can see the sun rising. This is great. So now's a good time to pause and grab that snack and drink if you haven't already, because like I said, this is going to be a long haul, and I'm going to try to not talk throughout the whole thing. So we'll probably spend like extended time in the external camera view, just so I can show you the beauty that is the Aleutian Islands. And of course, this nasty weather that seems to be omnipresent no matter what time of year. I don't think I've ever seen a picture of this place with like clear, sunny skies, even though on the Orbx site, that's kind of how they tease you with the airport that we're going into by showing it to you in the summertime with clear weather, and everything just looks so gorgeous. And then you remember that is the same place that they filmed the TV series Deadliest Catch. Yeah. Sunshine, clear skies, rarity for that area. If you have not watched that TV series, I'm not huge on TV, by the way. I really don't watch TV, but that is a series that I really enjoyed watching back when it first came out. I thought it was pretty cool to see the lives and lifestyle of these people who basically risk their lives day in and day out to bring us crab legs. Crab legs. One of my favorite foods. Weird, huh? All right, we're going to go ahead and line ourselves up just past this blowing snow here. And remember, we're looking for about 61 to rotate. So we should be good to go once we hit that mark. And with the flaps down 20 degrees, I think it's not going to take us long to take off. And let's not forget, that windsock says we've got a hellacious wind blowing in our direction here. All right, so first things first, I'm going to set the parking brakes on for a second, and we'll get the fuel condition lever up. Okay, everything looks good to me. Take it off the parking brakes, and we'll go brakes down, throttles up. There we go, NG's coming up. Brakes off. And here we go, wish us luck. Bit of a crosswind. I'm already putting in a lot of right rudder just to keep us straight down the runway here, and we'll see how well that's going to work. Woo, we are up. We're kind of banking a little to the right because I'm still putting in a lot of right rudder. But we're up. We are up. And we're literally all over the place. I can't see over this nose either. All right, I'm going to give us a little bit more power here. Okay, I'm looking good. Feeling good. So far, so good. We're closing in on 90. Bearing in mind, we do have a pretty strong headwind here. RPM is a little bit high. We can pull back the prop pitch just a little. I want it just out of the red, so 1990 on the RPM is good. And Kara, feel free to contact them whenever you would like. Once we get a little higher up, like over 1,000 feet, I will pull the flaps up and start getting that autopilot going here. Little bit of glitching.
Center, November 70 Alpha Golf Bravo is type 1 miles north of Papa Alpha Charlie Delta, 700 feet.
You notice a checkerboard
Request
pattern there?
following.
That's a little bit of a graphical
November
glitch with
70 Alpha Golf
MSFS.
Bravo Anchorage Center. Squawk 0752.
Squawk 0752 Alpha Golf Bravo.
Alpha Golf Bravo radar contact 2 miles north of Papa Alpha Charlie.
All right, let's get our flaps
900
up.
feet. Altimeter 30.01.
We'll trim us up a little bit more
Roger,
here.
Alpha Golf Bravo.
There we go. Okay, and Kara's got us clearance, so we're good to go. Let's go ahead and get the autopilot master on. And we'll get our nav hold on. So now I can come off of the stick. We are climbing a little high. A little high. Kind of worried about that. Just a little. And it seems to want to do its own thing already, which I'm none too pleased about. And that's that time climb thing that Asobo added in there a long time ago. It really does no favors for you. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take it off of nav hold and we're going to put it on heading hold. So that way I can adjust accordingly. All right, so we'll set that up like right there. Wait, is my master autopilot switch on? Or do I even have a master autopilot switch? I'm not 100% sure on this. But that might be why we're veering off to the side here. Let's check. Map light, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, landing lights, avionics bus, starter, ignition. Yeah, no, we definitely do have an autopilot master. Okay, that ought to work. All right. So, master autopilot on, nav is on. Okay, and now you're going to do your thing, right? Right? There you go. Okay, folks, so this red switch, very important. Autopilot master, make sure you turn it on. All right, she's going to do her little jiggle here as she gets us back on track. And we are heading to Jegno, which is right over that ELF waypoint there. I want to say that's an NDB. Oh, and look at this. We're already icing up. Whoo! Yeah, this is going to get fun. Now, I do have the windshield de-ice on, windscreen demist, they call it, so I'm hoping it will help. Not 100% certain, but we are on autopilot, so as long as we get over these clouds, I will feel a little bit better about myself and about this aircraft. But we are getting ready to do our turn, so let's quickly go to the outside view and we'll hang out there for a few seconds, and that'll give me a chance to drink some water. Okay, so we're back on board, and let's see how we are doing. We are actually in level flight. Why? I do not want us to be in level flight. So let's go VS, and I want us to go up, 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 not down, up. I need us to go up. Although we could probably use a little bit more airspeed. You can see our range, not much, between 120 and 140 is the green zone. Any higher than that, we're in the yellow, and we definitely don't want to go past 170 because that is in the red. All right, I'm going to keep pulling us up here. So VS plus 3 should be 300 feet per minute. Let's go 400 feet per minute. There we go. We're set there. As you can see, we are just over 3,700 feet. And I want to take her up to about 8,000-ish. And there's a cloud right in my way. That's going to get interesting as far as anti-icing goes. But I'm assuming that everything is functioning as it should. So we should have plenty of anti-ice capabilities. Let me check these things. Do they do anything? They do not. Glare shield brightness. You know what? Let's return that up. I feel like I want to turn that up. I don't see any glare shield brightness, do you? There's like no glare shield brightness. False advertising, damn it. Alright, we're gonna turn this up. We're gonna turn this up. Okay, there we go, there we go. Alright, so everything's looking nice and bright. And that's a lot of freaking ice. Holy crap. How are our wings doing? Wings seem to be fine, so it's just the glass that's affected. Okay. I'll take it. I'd rather my wings have less ice than my windshield. I don't care if I can't see through that. I can always go IFR and just follow the route. And of course, speaking of that, this is definitely an issue. You see where the magenta line is pointing. And this has been since the last sim update. Asobo still has not yet fixed it. So hopefully in sim update 11 it'll be fixed. We are actually following the magenta line. It's just that what it's depicting the magenta line as is incorrect. But we are going where we need to go. And why are we suddenly dipping down here? What's going on with that? Oh, wait a minute. Is this wind shear? Holy crap, I think we've got wind shear modeled. You saw that, right? We just dipped down all of a sudden, and I'm still set on VS. You can see it says VS plus 4. Oh, mama. This is going to get fun. This is going to get really fun. Oh, boy. Alrighty, folks. Well, you wanted to come along with BelGeode when he made an incredible voyage that could potentially end in disaster. Well, this is the one. I have a funny feeling this is the one. Alright, what is this knob? Doesn't do anything. There's something here for airflow, so can I pull you? I don't know what that does. It just says airflow. It doesn't tell me what it does. So, you know what? I'm going to close it back up just in case I need to have it closed. I'm feeling a little cold, but I think that's more to do with real life than it is actually being in the sim. But I do love those islands, though. They also look really cold, somewhat forbidding. But yeah, you can see we're having an issue as far as climbing here, and I don't know if that is because we are icing up or simply because, well, you know what we're having to deal with here with the weather. So maybe, just maybe, we may want to stay around 4,000 feet. We're there now. So I'm thinking I should probably just level us out. So here we go. Altitude hold. We'll stay right here. This is where I kind of wish I had a glass cockpit, because I can always put up the winds aloft and it'll tell us what we're doing. But look at that. Look at that. You see this, right? I am not controlling the bird. I'm literally hands off watching it do its thing. That's wind shear. I am pretty sure that is wind shear. For those of you who are religious in the audience, you might want to start praying for us now, because I can't guarantee we'll make it there safely. Okay, but we're not going to worry about it just yet. I think we might be okay. I think. So, positive vibes out there, folks. We're going to make it. We are going to make it. We might be a little icy. We might be a little sluggish. It might make for a much longer video than you intended to watch. But I think we're going to make it. All right, so we'll say goodbye to Cold Bay and that island and everything. We've got a very large island ahead of us. I happen to know there is also a very large mountain on that very large island. So that's going to also get interesting. And we do have a lot of cargo on board. Remember I said we're just shy of max takeoff weight, so I may have gimped us a little with that by adding so much cargo. But yeah, we'll see. Okay. We're running on both tanks, but we seem to be draining from the left tank a little bit quicker than the right. And here we go again. More wind shear. Seriously. Maybe I should just stay at 3,000 feet. Wow. That's crazy. I don't care who you are. That is crazy. I'm glad that in VR we can't feel the motion of the aircraft, because I'm telling you right now, if I could feel what is going on in this sim, I probably would have lost my breakfast already. And that is saying a lot, because it really takes a lot for me to get motion sick and to the point where I throw up. But yeah, if we keep bobbing around like a dinghy in the middle of a hurricane, I can just about guarantee you lunch is coming back up for seconds. All right, but we do have 16 miles to go until we get to PAKF, which is our first airport stop. And I use stop in quotation marks because we're not actually stopping there. But it looks like we are going to be around 3,000 feet. I don't see us getting much higher than this. Honestly, I'm fine with that because we can just go around the clouds or under them. But again, this is a little bit sketchy, shall we say, because we really haven't left 90 in level flight. So I can only imagine what this headwind is like. See, it even says our ground speed is 91. That's pretty rough. That's pretty rough. All right, let's go back to the outside view here. And I'm going to try and see if I can keep us level somewhat. So I am controlling it with the stick to try and not lose 1,000 feet each time we bob up and down like that. Because I get the feeling that would be bad, especially for the video. All right, back to the outside we go. Oh boy. All right, so we're still doing the dippy-do here. So yeah, now we're down to 2,000 feet, and I'm not pleased about that at all. So I am going to keep us at about 500 feet per minute. As long as we're climbing at the recommended speed of 91, we should be all right. But you can see I'm starting to get a stall warning here, which is not good. Not good. We're at 91. We shouldn't be stalling right now. Where is that airport? Wow. Okay. So you know me, folks. I like to err on the side of caution. I am not one who will continue to do something even if I know it's going to not work. If I feel like we need to scrub the mission, we're going to scrub the mission, because we do have a very long way to go to get to where we need to be. And right now this aircraft is complaining badly. All right, let me check everything, make sure we're all good. So torque is fine, RPM is fine, ITT is normal. It's a little high, but it's normal. NG looks good. Oil looks good. Everything else looks good, and we've certainly got enough gas, but we're still going down. We're now getting below 2,000, which is not good. We literally cannot climb back up to 4,000. And it's trying its best. You can see it is trying its best to trim us up. It's just not working right. But as long as we got some airspeed, I'm going to try and keep her exactly where she is now.
526 airport is 11 miles, picture 1 o'clock. Climb and maintain 8,100 feet, report runway in sight.
Oh, here we go again. Here we go again. That's got to be wind shear. That's the only thing I can think of that would cause us to go crazy like this.
Climb and maintain 8,100 feet, Cessna 526. Cessna 526 runway in sight. Cessna 526, you are 10 miles northeast of Papa Alpha Victor Charlie. Turn left heading 230, climb and maintain 2,100 feet.
See, we're dipping down again. We're now just below 2,000 feet. And there is a mountain in our way, so now we need to really consider what we're doing here.
Maintain 2,100 feet. Cessna 526.
Okay, PAKF is up ahead. I think it is decision time, folks. Are we going to make it to PAKF or not? And that mountain's starting to look a little bit forbidding. Let's take a look at it from the outside. Yeah, you ever get that feeling like we might not actually make it to the originally intended destination? Yeah, that's where I'm at right now. That is where I'm at right now. And it wouldn't be a first, because the last time that we actually decided to fly in Alaska, I determined that our conditions were a little too bad for us to make it to where we needed to go. So I basically called it off and flew us to safety back to our original airport. So I'm hoping that's not the case today, but I'm not feeling very, very optimistic about it, because we are literally getting thrown all over the sky. You can see the direction we should be heading, and you can see just how much we're actually crabbing here. This is bad. This is really bad. Not to mention the whole vertical speed business that we're dealing with here. You can see we are climbing. We are trying to get back up to that 4,000 that I had originally set. But it's just not happening because of wind shear. Wind shear bad. Wind shear very bad. So even with the autopilot on, I'm just trying to coax her back up. And I'm hoping against hope that we can make it at least to this next airport, which should be not very far away. Yeah, it should be just about below us now. Let's see if we can see it in the outside view. Alright, I got no joy, but it does say it's like 3 miles ahead of us and below us. What do you think, folks? Should I continue to press on, or do I follow my gut and call it off right here? What would you do in this situation? Chime in the comments. I'm real curious to hear how you would react to this. You see the weather. It doesn't look like it's getting much better. We're having a very difficult time trying to climb. And we do have an airport along the way that we could land at. While you're chiming in the comments, I'm going to call it. I'm going to call it. Kara, tell PAKF we're coming in. We need to pause at False Pass. What runways do we have? 32? Okay, we're going to go for
Papa
that.
Alpha Kilo Foxtrot, traffic November, 70 Alpha Golf Bravo, 2 miles northeast, 2,000 feet inbound to land runway tree 2.
Err on the side of caution. Autopilot off. And there is clearly a mountain ahead of us, which is also not good. I'm going to put our prop pitch back up a little bit more here. And we'll see if we can at least locate this airport, and then we'll pull it in. Now, on the one hand, yeah, I do have to apologize to you because, yeah, we're obviously not going to continue the rest of the flight to show you the beautiful Unalaska. We'll have to do that in another episode. But I guess you could say this video will be one of those to be continued type deals. Because honestly, I would rather be safe, and if this were real life, since we are simulating flying in these kinds of conditions, I'm pretty certain most of the real life pilots out there would probably agree with me that we should probably see if we can bring this bird in to one of our deliberately added stopover airports. Speaking of which, I have no idea where the hell that airport is. Alright, but I do know the runway runs north to south, and we're going to need to land to the north, hopefully. What's our altitude? Just over 1,200 feet. Alright, I'm keeping the power up, but I can see we're right about at the flap limit speed. And I want to swing us around a bit here before we decide to collide with that land. Got no eyes on this airport at all. I'm going to zoom this puppy in just a little bit more. Okay. Alright, so at least I know I'm heading towards the airport. What I don't know is where exactly the airport is going to be. We can cheat a little bit and look to the outside view, so let's do that and see what we've got. Okay, so airport is off to our right a little bit. I still have no visual on it. So we are going to do a low pass, relatively low pass. I'm gonna get that power up. Okay, I think I see it. I think I see it. Let's get the flaps down. We're gonna go flaps full on this one. And get ready on that beta. Landing lights should probably be on too, I think. All right, baby, stay airborne just a little bit. None of that wind shear business, please. And bring her in. Come on. There you go. We're down. Okay. Beta. Whoo! Whoo! Wow! Okay. So there is a real danger flying in Alaska. A real danger. Wow. But we made it. Not to our intended destination, but we made it someplace at least safe, with a building that we can huddle inside to keep warm and wait until the weather gets a little bit better. Provided there's some kind of cell phone service here, I think what I'll do is I will contact our contract manager and tell them, yeah, those supplies that you've been waiting for over in Dutch Harbor, they might be a little bit late. They might be a little bit late. But just between you and I, folks, like I said, if this were real life, this is the kind of thing that I would opt to do. And I would hope that most of you out there would also agree with me, because we saw the performance
Papa
that we were
Alpha
getting.
Charlie Delta traffic November 70 Alpha Golf Bravo is clear of the runway.
Kara, I don't know how to tell you this,
Alpha
babe.
Charlie
There's no
Delta
one here.
Traffic November 70 Alpha Golf Bravo is clear of the runway.
There's literally no one here. Well, maybe there is. I see a green light in there. Oh boy, don't tell me this is some kind of haunted place. That's all I freaking need. But yeah, change of plans, folks, which of course is going to make the video a lot shorter. But hey, at least you have my thoughts on the PAC-750. It really is a good aircraft, and to me, it feels very realistic. There are some things that let it down. I've already discussed all of that. The audio, of course, is one. Audio could be better. A lack of the features that we've come to expect in other add-on aircraft, such as co-pilot, passengers, cargo, skydivers, all of that kind of stuff. That can be added and incorporated into the little iPad here, which right now is just kind of Spartan. It's pretty bare bones. But yeah, aside from that and our obvious failure to complete the mission, here's what I plan to do. I want to do a second chill vid. I don't know if I'll do it for next week or maybe the week after, but sometime very soon. I guess it's going to depend on what the live weather conditions are like here. But I would like to complete this flight at some point in time. So we'll take off from this airport and we'll see if we can make our way finally to Dutch Harbor. Either way, I'm going to link in the video description below the two airports that we're using, the FREEWARE airport that we took off from, as well as the PAYWARE Orbx airport that we intended to land in this flight. And of course, the link for this aircraft will also be in the video description below. So with all that having been said, I'm going to leave my aircraft running for a little bit longer here, and I'm going to thank you for watching. This has been BelGeode. I have been flying in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and this aircraft has been the Orbx Pacific Aviation, or PAC-750. It is a STOL aircraft, and as we saw, it can definitely handle a really short runway such as this. The scenery, of course, will also be linked in the video description below if you are interested in either places. Promise you I'll be back at some point in time soon to finish up the rest of this flight, because I'm the kind of person where I hate unfinished business. So hopefully when we decide to take off, the weather will be a little bit better and we can actually make it to our intended destination. But until then, if you enjoy what you've seen, please feel free to give me a like. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so, and I will be back really soon with some more flight simulator goodness here in the Badlands of the Aleutian Isles. Whew. All right, now if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go in this little shack here and maybe see if there's some kind of coffee maker that I can cannibalize. Alrighty, folks, I'll talk to you later. Ciao.